Hey, what's up? Today I'm joined by Nick, the guy that definitely wants to be here.
Hey, I appreciate it, really do.
We got Ethan.
Shitpost crusader extraordinaire.
There's me, Eli, and I'm your wholesome co-host. And last but certainly not least, we got Travis, the Moy Trash Lover.
Yeah, it's not real trash, but thanks, man.
All right. So this week, this is the NEET Podcast where we talk about our totally biased and unprofessional opinions on different shows and anime. This week we watched ReZero, Starting Life in Another World. So this show basically, and I'm gonna read you a synopsis. Suddenly, high school student Subaru Natsuki has been summoned to another world on the way back from the convenience store. With the biggest crisis of his life being summoned to another world, and with no sign of the one who summoned him, things become even worse when he's attacked. But when he's saved by a mysterious silver-haired girl with a fairy cat, Subaru cooperates with her to return the favor. Now, this is a brief synopsis that only covers the very beginning portions of the show, but after this, we're going to get right into it. So, let's get right into the discussion.
Oh, spoilers throughout, by the way.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
spoilers,
a lot of spoilers.
right. So, I guess we're going to go ahead and move on to the main points, with the first one being highs and lows. So, what do y'all think?
Okay, so
Man, that was an anime.
it
Is
definitely
it?
was, yeah. I
One
thought
of
it
the
was
better
good.
ones.
I thought it was pretty good overall. Obviously, there's parts that I didn't like, and I think everybody has their parts that they didn't like. But yeah, I mean, in general, I liked it.
The
Like,
pacing was good. The story was very entertaining. It's actually the second time I watched it, and it was more I caught on to the second time that I definitely didn't see the first time around, and it's pretty good. I enjoyed
so
it.
this was your and Eli's second time watching it, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. And
I watched
so
it when it aired, what, 3 years ago now?
didn't you both?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So this was me and Nick's first time. So I want to hear Nick's thoughts because this is one of the first anime he's watched.
Basically, the first series I've ever watched front to back. It was entertaining. I thought it was worth my time, which was more than I expected going in.
I think that's more than all of us expected, honestly.
Let me point out that Nick also watched it in English, unlike I think the rest of us.
Yeah, the rest of us watched it subbed. So say what you will
Um,
about Nick with
Some
that.
prejudice I don't understand there, but
You're
cool.
probably going to be crucified.
Cool. Everyone hates
Not
me now. I
sugarcoat
love
it.
that.
Yeah.
I
Thank
watched the
you.
last episode in English, and it really wasn't that bad. Subaru sounded extremely heroic, so
Yeah.
it was pretty good.
I mean,
but
that's really what you want from a main protagonist, for him to be heroic. And
Alright.
speaking of Subaru,
So,
What do
okay,
you guys think?
sorry. Yeah.
okay,
Personally,
carry on, Eli.
sorry.
Just say yeah, and then
Personally, a
I'm just
low of
gonna let
mine
it go.
was his mini breaks. And I know that's just human, and I know that's just him carrying on his plot and his character development as a person. But his deep, deep breaks, like it was like bipolar deep, was a little much for me.
Dude.
I feel like
I
Okay,
I could
but
agree.
no. What I
Agree.
thought about that though is, do you think that his mental breaks happened because of the way he died before? Because it seemed like the crazier, like, deranged deaths that he had would cause him to be a little bit more mentally disturbed in his next life.
You'd
It
think.
would almost
oh,
push his
definitely.
entire personality for his next
Yeah, that's what I was
life.
gonna say. Like you'd think
Oh,
his
I see.
personality would stay damaged after each one, but the issue I had with that was the fact that after something else happened, he snapped back to it. Like the perfect example is whenever he watched, I think it was Rem got killed by the white whale and like completely erased. And so when he reset,
I,
he would just completely shut down, became a zombie until he watched her get killed. Like
no, I think
gruesomely
it
killed
was
by
Betelgeuse when
Betelgeuse.
Betelgeuse twisted her,
No,
and
no, no.
he
Because
no,
Betelgeuse
yeah,
twisted
you're
her when he
right.
was, yeah.
He's also talking. Yeah.
Yeah. So and then after
But he snapped out of it
twisted her-
instantly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I personally I didn't like that. Cuz yeah, it affected him, but it didn't really stay with him, you know?
At the save points that weren't him sleeping, the dude literally did not sleep for like 6 or 7 straight episodes,
You
That's
got a
true.
which
point.
I
I'm
didn't think
assuming is like
it.
3 to 4 days. I'm just thinking,
It,
Pretty
it did
he-
also, it showed bags on his eyes, like
That's true.
as he would die, he would wake up next to Rim on the streets,
So
and his eyes looked more messed up each time.
do you
Yeah.
think like whenever he resets, there's like a pause time in between it so he can like kind of rest up and then just be like
I
pow?
think it's immediate. I think it's immediate.
No,
Like,
yeah,
it's
because it
probably
seemed
it's
like
gotta
his
be
eyes
immediate.
would close and then they would open the
Hold
next
on, I
I'll
have
day.
be back there.
actually have something. We actually had a point where there was a pause. Whenever he did die, I thought it was him going back to like way before. It was kind of it was cloudy. I don't know if any of y'all
Was
recognized it.
this
But it was like
was this like in the mansion arc, the first part of the series,
I honestly can't remember.
when he like
No.
But I remember
wasn't
that
sure
there
if he
was
could
a
go
pause and
past
he was
3
like
deaths?
seeing all the memories pass him again.
Oh no, that was the very end. That was when he got killed by Julius.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah.
Julius had to kill him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I remember
It
that.
Had
like
to,
flashed.
in quotes.
I guess, yeah.
I mean,
Although he didn't even
they
kill him, right?
basically
Didn't-
they did the same thing.
The
second
trap
to
killed
life
him.
after that.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So the trap.
Yeah.
Yeah, the entire time with that character, I was sitting there and I was just like, I had to keep reminding myself, this is a dude, and
You had to.
I did,
It's-
I did. Because
They gave him a dress, even when he like was wearing the ragged
exactly,
clothes. He
and
wore
a
a dress.
bow in the hair and the ear like that.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. That made me uncomfortable.
Hey,
uh,
traps aren't gay, man.
going back to like the
Oh,
the
Lord.
resetting thing, like the mental breaks. I feel like the high of a lot of the arcs was like the most traumatic of the deaths that he would have.
Oh, so like
Uh,
when he got killed by
yeah,
giant Puck, and he started laughing.
I,
like
that
he
that
felt
the
these-
credit roll scene. I don't know.
That was
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah,
How
that,
I
that
don't
was
know
a
that-
freaking one.
The ominous music, dude. It was insane.
I don't know how that cannot be called probably the
The high.
like,
Yeah.
I'd say
the
that's
emotional highlight. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Because
Okay.
legit just watched everybody die.
On the opposite side, though, just to like hit a low that I think was it's probably on everybody's mind, but I think the biggest problem that I saw, how come he was so willing to be in this world? Was it ever explained?
I
it
don't
was
think
just
so.
a
I think he
dream
just
of his,
kind of like
oh.
accepted it. Like he's just like, ah,
He
Well, I'm
accepted
here
it
now.
instantly, though.
yeah. I
He's
mean,
like, I'm here to be a hero.
I mean, the kid's a mega weeb. He was
yeah, he's like
spending
he's
his
a
day
shut-in.
reading anime
He's
at
a
like
NEET,
at
right?
like in a convenience store,
Yeah,
and then it's literally like his biggest dream, right?
yeah.
Fair
Until
enough.
it's
I know
not,
for a
but-
fact, like high school me, if I got transported to another world, would be like, let's do this thing. You know? Like I feel like
Yeah.
that's just
Well,
a normal like teenage angst thing, right?
and
Maybe not
also
normal.
also a low would be it has to do with his power returned by death.
Mhm.
Why could he couldn't talk about it, obviously, like he couldn't say return to death or
Right.
the witch would get his heart, but some of the people, like I think it was Beatrice mainly, he could seriously just talk about like, ooh, in this life this happened, in my past life, like he would seriously go on and talk about it and nothing would happen.
Yeah.
And you could tell other characters knew kind of what was going on, but the entire show Amelia was completely clueless.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say,
so,
that the show is not close to finished.
But
so yeah,
so-
from that point there, I want to talk about the overall story because
That works.
while I did like this show, and don't get me wrong, I like the show, I have some serious issues with a couple of things. The most like glaring and apparent, I mean, obviously we finished the show here recently, but the last episode, I absolutely hated everything about the last 5 minutes. That scene of him and Amelia sitting there talking, where he confesses. To me, it felt like a horrible payoff that was just kind of like rushed in and ruined a lot of what it had built up by her just being like, "I'm not sure how I feel. Like I don't like this. Like or not. I don't like this. It's just I don't know how to feel. You know. Like I understand you've done legitly everything for me, especially in that last arc there, where he's trying to get back to the mansion from the capital. He's just basically doing everything so he can save her. Initially, he goes back because he wants to go back, but then he discovers obviously the witch's cult and then the white whale and all that stuff happens. But he's going back for her, and you think the way that their relationship had played out until then, that this would be the big moment where they get together, right? That's a normal anime thing. Is it the will they, won't they? That segues into the relationship being a thing at the end of the series. But this one decided to basically take that trope, step on it, and like twist. with her essentially not rejecting him per se, but just putting him on hold. And essentially, it's a repeat of what happened with Rem. And I don't know. I just want to hear your guys' thoughts about that because that really like rubbed me wrong.
Yeah, I could see it. I don't know why Amelia just seems so clueless most of the time.
I think that was
And
her character, though. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
for sure. But in the end too, it's like the entire time she didn't want him going back to the mansion. And she
Yeah.
always had these rules set out for him. They had that big fight, but then like he did save her life
Mhm.
at the end, which is I guess why he wouldn't or she wouldn't punish him, but
Well,
it was a very like there was no feeling in it for sure.
yeah. It.
There
I don't
wasn't
know.
punishment, but there wasn't love.
I mean, I'm kind of I guess, a sucker for this kind of thing, like that love payoff. And this one, while it was ultimately an isekai, at the same time, it's also a romance. You know, because it plays the ultimate story of at least the first season is him trying to, I guess, woo Amelia. Like you have it in the in the first bit of the series where he's just trying to ask her out on a date, even though she doesn't know what a date is, and he keeps dying like shortly after that, so he's got to figure it out. Um, the his desire for that relationship with Amelia propelled the plot into the isekai plot. I mean, the isekai plot started it out, and then it jumped into the Amelia plot, isekai plot. It's kind of jumped between really. And then you have the other subplots of Rem, the whole arc at Crush's mansion, stuff like that. And again, I have another question too, or it wasn't really answered by the show, or maybe I missed it. You know, they talked about
Right.
the witch, but like, and then they mention her rebirth, or at least Betelgeuse does. Um, who was the witch exactly? Because I personally
Satella.
got, well, I know that, but like, you know, like what is her big threat at this point? Like everybody's obviously terrified of
Apparently she
her,
like
and apparently she's gonna be reborn, but like to like Subaru, her obvious
So
threat is her like either killing someone he knows because he mentions return by death. But then that
okay,
makes me
I
think
have
that
the history.
it makes me think that she's the one that summoned him. You know what I mean?
So I have the history pulled up right here. So this is from the show. This is what they said. So it's
Mhm.
400 years prior to his summoning, Satella absorbed envy, envy witch factors she had no compatibility with, resulting in the creation of her witch of envy personality, subsequently going out of control and killing 6 other witches of sin, while nearly destroying the world. Despite the efforts of many, including the dragon, the sword saint, and the sage, Satella was unable to be killed and was instead sealed and is watched over.
See,
So she basically swelled up with power, killed the others to gain their power,
Mhm.
and then she was feared
so
bruh.
for it.
I guess that
Then
makes
Not
who
calling
sense, but why wouldn't they mention that in the show, right? Like I
because
feel like
they're
that's a
saving it for
very
season
they're
2.
saving it for season 2.
yeah, I
Yeah,
guess
But
so.
that's season 2
with
spoilers.
I forgot
everything
about
that
the
Eli
season 2.
said, what's to say that Puck and Amelia aren't the witch? Because Puck literally said she was going to destroy the entire world.
If Amelia died,
Puck keeps calling
Puck
her
is the
his
guy.
daughter, which is really creeping me out. Give me some
Yeah,
yeah.
bad heebie-jeebies there.
And Puck and Betty are siblings. Which means
yeah,
Betty
they
is
were his
Amelia's
Are those
aunt.
sister.
Are they actually siblings?
Yeah, they mentioned
That's
Or
what
that
she
like
No,
right at the
said.
very end.
is the mother? Huh?
No, th-
Wait a
this might
minute.
be anime, but it's not incest.
Oh,
Come on.
I, we needed like a
Stop.
theory
Matt
crafting
Pass.
section
No,
on
I don't.
the schedule
I
here.
stop. I'm gonna stop you there. We don't need that incest. That whole incest spiel.
Okay.
I don't want
But
to
Betty,
see. I don't want to see Puck and Betty going at it.
I
It's gonna
kind of
pop
do.
out a half elf.
This is-
No, that's in my head now. Can we move on
This
from
is bad.
this?
Uh,
Let's move on from this.
What about the what do you guys think about the whale battle?
I hated
The
it.
battle
Dude,
with the white whale.
you hated it? Okay.
Dislike that?
It was
Why?
so dumb.
Why?
It was
Good.
literally like a bunch of dudes with sharp things running around on the whale, and the whale was just straight chilling the whole time.
The whale's just sitting there moaning and
That-
stuff. while
That
they're
battle
just
was like
hacking
2.5
it up.
episodes long. There were dudes running across it with swords dug into its face for at least 3/4 of it, and it was still just kind of vibing up in the sky.
Yeah, I
That-
just want to know what all the ground troops
Chilling.
that have like no power were doing. Were they just like sitting there, hope they didn't get?
They're just
nuked
sitting
or
there
something?
yelling. No, I think logistically their purpose was to grab the injured so that the boy could heal them.
Well,
I
it
keep
also
reminding
kind of
myself that
showed
that's a boy.
one of the whales like crashed on the ground, and
Yeah,
then
and
it
then-
showed like all of them go over there and just start poking them.
Doesn't that remind me of like Gulliver's Travels with Jack
Yeah.
Black, where he's like a giant. And they like tie him down and start kicking him.
At the end of the battle, what's the dude's name? The one in the Hoshi, like the dog guy, is like, sorry, I wasn't much of a
Ricardo,
help.
dude.
Why
I
is
was like,
his
bro, at least
oh,
you moved.
no.
At least you got out there
Why
and
is his
tried.
name
Because
Ricardo?
I just had
99% of these dudes.
Every time he showed up, I just picture him being like, "I think Moto likes you."
Oh my god.
Him be wearing this Star Spangled thong.
No.
The
They
banana
were like
hammock.
all, they were like all distraught that like we can't even remember their names. I'm like, they wouldn't have been remembered anyway. They didn't freaking move.
You get a point.
They were CGI.
They were
Were
CGI.
they-
in the back- The CGI
Bad.
in the background was so like they took idle. They just used idle animations. So if you watched it closely, which for some reason every time they were in the capital, I didn't watch what the main characters were doing. I just watched the CGI in the background. It was just idle animations. Like somebody
Well,
got in like Paint 3D and just like
You're
moved like
slightly
3
obsessed.
frames of them slowly
There was a
moving
couple.
back and
There was
At
a
least
couple
they
dogs
moved.
that looked like Clifford.
I mean, there was a couple Cliffords in the back.
In most animes, isn't it like just a still background, right?
No,
Is that a
No.
crazy
they're
thing?
like hand drawn like a couple frames. So you'll see like a head at one point, then at the other point. And while
caught
that's
myself watching
being
it, I was like,
moved
oh.
like that, you'll just see him
It
like
did.
kind of.
It did feel
Sorry,
alive. The city felt
Yeah,
alive.
I caught myself watching it. I was like, oh, cool, that guy's there. It's a nice touch.
Yeah,
See-
it felt the city felt extremely alive, but with like weird robot dog.
Yeah,
things.
it felt like some kind of like some kind of fucked up Disneyland. Is what it
A little
felt
more
like. To
affected.
put it bluntly, it's like I was going through
Animatronics.
Small World. It's like I was going
Oh,
through
no.
the Small World ride, but instead of like little people, it was like just dogs and lizards and stuff like that.
We were talking about the white whale fight. Somebody else that didn't not like it talk.
See, I liked it. I liked how they showed Wilhelm's background. Was it Wilhelm?
That's
or
what I was gonna say. I
Wilhelm?
really liked his whole little arc
I
that
like
he got.
his, and they showed like the flashbacks of him with flowers. Nick, you're laughing. I want to hear what you're saying.
I'm saving this for later.
Okay. Okay.
Keeping that one in the pocket.
But
Yep.
Dude, it was kind of emotional. It was like
I thought
was-
I think it would have been better if
did
they
not.
just killed him. Like he straight up got nommed.
well,
Hard agree. Hard agree. Yep.
Part of the scene of him cutting the whale's eye out though, like, made me like do a kegel in my seat. I don't know. Like it made me feel all weird.
What?
You know what I mean? Nobody else agree with me?
Scaring me.
Like watching the
You're
dude just
scaring me.
cut out the thing's eye and stab it. I was just like, ugh. No? Alright.
no. I did.
Apparently not.
I don't like
Why would
Ivor.
you? Why would you guys want him to die though? Then his whole arc would have went to waste.
Yeah, but I
No,
mean,
no, he's literally done once he
well,
kills the whale, right?
yeah, but
Well, yeah,
I was
but if
talking
he
about
did
if he got
kill the-
eaten
What
by
else
the
are they
whale.
gonna do with that character right
Like,
now?
imagine how great it would
What
have
does
been.
he
Like,
kill the whale and then die?
no,
Yeah, sure.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Oh,
I'm talking about.
he kills the whale and has a stroke.
Imagine nobody. Imagine
He
he gets,
seizes up. They're like, "What's wrong with him?" His goal's complete. He's done.
His
he
goal-
lands
his
like the
life's
final
purpose.
blow, gets blasted by the mist. The story just goes on. Nobody ever talks about him again.
Dude, They
Tell me
don't
that
even
wouldn't be
know.
good.
They don't even know that like someone slayed
Yeah,
the
and
whale.
then-
Right.
Who was
Then
it?
Subaru's
The
just
anime
like,
just
"Oh."
forgets about him.
Yeah, that would be pretty Pega.
I mean, he
um,
kind of also came up behind Betelgeuse after that and just yeeted him in
He got
half.
him in
He,
half.
he did. It
was
didn't
a
have to
little
be
bit
him
brutal.
though.
It didn't have.
It
to.
It
could've
didn't.
been
It,
No.
no.
It could have been like any nameless soldier.
Oh!
Or Julie.
Did I forget about it or what happened to Reinhardt though? Why did Julius all of a sudden
He was
become
on a
like the main
courtesy call.
guy?
He was on a
Reinhardt
courtesy
was
call.
on a courtesy call.
What? When did they say that? Did I just
was, like,
fall
They
asleep
they
during that?
mentioned it like a throwaway line. Because they're like, why?
Yeah.
Because Subaru was like, why isn't Reinhardt here? And they're like, oh, he's on a courtesy call outside the capital. And then he just never popped back up. So I
'Cause
bet
Julius was low key cool, but like
Julie.
Yeah, hold on.
yeah, he
Can
wanted
we
to be
talk
felt-
about that? Why? What is the reason you guys think that Julius threw out all of his pride and honor to have a sparring thing with Subaru?
Because Subaru
It's-
insulted.
I
Like,
think
he's
yeah,
never
he
hated
just got
her.
really
but
under his
listen,
skin.
there was so much talk about how Julius threw away like his honor to do something for Subaru. Like he played the villain. That's what someone said. I think it was the economy district chick that's running for
Oh,
the
like
line.
the
She was like, he
Monster
played
Hunter
the villain role for you, and
Iceborne looking.
this is all you've turned out to be.
She was
I
the worst
assume
character in the show.
What about
I
the
did
little
not like
cat
her.
leaders of the mercenary army?
But hold on, do you think there's any deeper thing besides just getting revenge for calling the knights just making fun of them? Do you think there's
my
another reason besides that?
I
my
have
assumption is
an
that
idea.
nobody expected him to beat Subaru's ass so hard. It was
Yeah.
like kind of pathetic at a point. Like he should have just probably not even picked the
Like,
fight if he
alright.
knew he was that much stronger.
Please
So you
just
thought Julius
stop.
was
Like if it had been a good fight, like maybe that wouldn't be the case.
See,
But it
I
wasn't. I just kicked him.
personally, I think
you
the
thought-
whole reason he stepped into the ring with Subaru was initially because of that that pride and honor that they mentioned him throwing away. He had such a sense of pride and honor that he couldn't let Subaru's comments go unpunished, right? And then I think when he got in there, he just wanted Subaru. Like the reason he went so ham is because Subaru kept coming at him, and he's like, Subaru, dude, listen, you're throwing away your pride. It's like just stop.
I think
And
it
then
was
he
more
obviously
character
wasn't.
development for Subaru.
Yeah, and
It was more like foreshadowing for Subaru's character to show that he really isn't anything special. He is seriously just a nerdy, fit kid.
he's just a dude who dies and comes back to
Yeah,
life.
seriously.
Essence.
rip.
I think it was more of a.
That's why Amelia didn't reciprocate his feelings. He's
She
nothing
doesn't like
special.
weebs.
Nah, she's
Mm.
probably like, Subaru-kun, we can't have a relationship. You're my butler. And Subaru's just like, oh baby, I'm gonna make you feel good tonight. Nice nod to
Yeah.
oh, if you've seen it, you'll know.
Yeah. Well, on the topic of Subaru, should we like talk about his power? Like the only thing special that he actually had in the whole show.
hmm
So,
Does anyone
like normal
anyone
isekai,
want
like
to chime in?
for an example, that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Well, obviously he gets reincarnated as a slime, but they have like these special powers. That's what Subaru mentioned in like throwaway lines.
Careful
He's
not
like,
to spoil another show.
no, I'm not going to. It's pretty obvious that he's a slime. Hence the title, right? Anyway,
Sure.
so Subaru like mentions it like, oh, it's yes, my very own like new world fantasy. What's my special power? How do I activate it? And so his power was the return by death. We mentioned it a couple times, and basically
But
he dies.
Do we
then
think
he
do
comes
we
back.
think Return by Death was actually something given to him by the witch? And do we also think that it was given to him by the witch because she summoned him?
That's what I'm saying.
Like she
I'm
has a
pretty
purpose for him?
sure she summoned him. Not sure why. This might be season 2 stuff, or it'll never be mentioned again. Which I think it'll probably be the latter of the two because personally, I don't think the story's right, the show's writing, and like general like, there's a lot of throwaway lines that never pay off. And I mean, we don't have season 2 yet at the time of this. But so I could be wrong, and that there is payoff for some lines that we heard. But personally, I think that a lot of the questions we have won't get resolved, and it'll just continue to be an isekai moving forward.
There's no hint. There's no hint to anything else being the case.
Yeah, exactly. Like we can theorize all we want, but in the end, it is my personal belief that it won't get resolved.
You
That
know,
will still have
they're
questions.
actually releasing more unedited episodes of season 1.
Oh yeah, I heard
Like,
about that actually.
Yeah, throughout January. So legitly within like 8-9 days, our opinions may completely change because episode 1 is unedited and more stuff than ever that changes our minds and
But
completely rechanges what we thought.
do
So
you really
I don't know,
think
maybe
there will be that much more content in that? Like that more
yes, I
questions?
saw a scene where like Puck and Amelia are in like a frozen forest, and that looks crazy. And I don't want to go into that deeper right now, but I'm just saying there's could be a lot of character development um, aside from what we've already seen,
Right.
especially Puck
Dude.
and Amelia's relationship.
Yeah, because that's just kind of like, it's kind of there. Like they mentioned that she summoned the spirit of
Well,
the
she's the spirit, yeah.
yeah, but like they
She's a
don't ever
spirit mage.
mention much else out of it. Like why
We
does
got two.
Puck
We got
prefer
two,
Subaru?
maybe three origin stories, and there's what, like 30 characters.
Yeah,
So
you got the origin stories of Ram and Ram.
get a single one of those in
Subaru.
there. It's
I mean,
probably worth checking out.
obviously it's Subaru's origin story, right?
No, I mean, you don't know what Subaru's doing in real life, really. He was just
It's
By
Subaru's.
Kind
Kind
of-
of. It
Subaru's-
actually showed
Subaru's-
flashbacks of his real life at one point, though.
Did it?
I don't
Yeah,
remember
during him and Rim's like talk, it was
Oh.
flashing back to how like he was a good for nothing beforehand, and then he just came to the world and he still has nothing to offer.
Okay.
So it kind of he was definitely a NEET.
100%.
He was totally a shut-in, which is usually how isekai goes. But
Ironic.
yeah, I mean
Yeah,
that's
that's
isekai.
normally that's that's isekai.
No, ironic. That's the name of the show.
So
Our
w-
show.
with Subaru's power, do you think I was thinking of this? So like how he goes into the talk with like Rim, and they were like talking or fantasizing about how they could just run away.
Yeah.
You think Subaru could have had a life like that? Like, you think he could run away and go live and die of old age, and then when he dies, he respawns?
So to
You
that
think he
point,
could do that?
I think the save
think
point
he-
would update.
You think there's any lives that we didn't see that could have happened like
I don't know.
on his time?
Dang man, that's deep.
Maybe.
I think
My
we followed
guess-
him moment to moment.
You
Yeah,
think
I
so?
I think it was just
Yeah.
moment to moment.
Mhm.
His save points update obviously. So if like let's say he did run off with Ram, I think his save point will update. But to that
Yeah,
point,
Why do you think
he's being
what-
guided?
yeah, he's
But what?
So
Yeah,
what-
but
very much being
what qualifies
on
a save
path.
point? What do you guys think qualified the save point?
Something
Oh,
that
good question.
something
He
that
accomplished
is relevant to the witch,
Yeah.
It's
something
relevant
that
to the
whoever-
witch.
or whoever brought him there. He's being guided by whoever brought him there, and whenever
Yeah.
he does something that helps whoever that is.
But if
that's
it's relevant to the witch, why would killing like
The
gluttony
goal.
and sloth be relevant to the witch?
I mean,
I think
Season
the
two.
All
witch.
part of the plan.
I think what Betelgeuse said about the witch, them trying to like summon her in Amelia's body, has something to do with it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You remember, like they mentioned that.
Yeah.
I have another question about Subaru's power.
Well, is Betelgeuse not just crazy?
Well, yes, but I have another question about Subaru's power. So let's say Subaru grows old, right, and he dies of old age. Does he just restart like the day before he died of old age? Like, does he just have to
would've-
live?
I don't know.
Obviously, you guys haven't seen
Maybe-
JoJo's, and I'm a massive JoJo fan, and I'm not gonna
Lord.
spoil it, but
oh,
watch
God.
JoJo's.
No, thank
That
you.
would be a very boring anime.
No.
I think by the point of
think
his
you-
old age, so I think with the
everyone
whole we
should
were
watch
talking about him being
JoJo's.
guided,
JoJo's is
that
great.
if he was being guided, then
I
he
love
wouldn't
JoJo's.
be able to get so far ahead
That's what-
without helping
That's
the witch
a
out.
good point. If he ran away, something would have killed him. Like some freak, like his carriage wheel would have broke. He would have snapped his neck and died.
Yeah,
Like some freak accident would have happened.
and I mean, something we do know for sure
Snapped
is
the wheel and he broke his neck.
something we do know for sure is that the witch wanted that I call him Beetlejuice. What is his name? It starts with like a
Beetlejuice.
like a
Betelgeuse.
P.
Betelgeuse.
Betelgeuse.
I hate that so much. Has nothing to do with Beetlejuice.
It is
Anyway.
definitely
It is
a
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice
It's a
reference.
Beetlejuice reference. Yeah, it is a Beetlejuice reference.
Okay, I don't know what that means.
He kept on saying his name, and I
Beetlejuice,
was
like the
oh, that's
movie?
more than three.
They're
The
just
witch
referencing
wanted.
the movie.
Okay.
That's all it is.
Dude, his brain's just freaking trembling, bro.
Yeah, I get it. I
No,
get it.
okay,
I get it.
moving
The
on.
witch.
Next
The
one.
witch really wanted him dead. That's what we do know. So
Because whenever he inhabited Subaru's body, and Subaru was just like, I can return by death. And the witch is just like, I don't want
the
to
witch
play with you anymore.
took
she
his
just,
side.
She straight
so-
up just went full
She
Andy
said,
with
"You're not
Woody.
the one."
She's just like, I don't want to
So-
play with you anymore. And
If
dropped
she's
him.
okay with getting rid of Sloth, why isn't she okay with
What
getting
if she's
rid of
what if
Air
she's trying to
else?
kill everybody but Subaru and make like Subaru like the ultimate like slave?
Yeah, like how she ate all the other witches or whatever story that went. Like she killed them all. Maybe she wants Subaru to like beat all the other Sin archbishops, and then like I don't
Or
know.
or she's just using Subaru to get to Amelia.
That's that's my
I
theory.
don't know.
That's my thought.
Do you think we're
Or-
gonna see any more powers arise out of his ability to like
See the
talk
unseen
about his
hand?
return by death?
Oh.
Dude, I think this dude just needs to snap his neck and restart sometimes. Like I
Dude,
think
that's what I'm saying. Like,
he
I
killed himself
100%
once.
would
Why
use
can't
that
he just
ability. Like, if something went like, let's say I'm let's say I'm in his position. I'm talking to Amelia. I say something wrong, right? And she's just like, "Oh, I hate you."
just
I
cut your throat
100% would
open?
have thrown myself out the window. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
that's
Holy
fine. I
crap.
can mess around with different
Dude,
timelines.
it
and,
can't hurt that
experiment
bad.
with this stuff.
It cannot hurt that bad to
It
shove a
won't
knife
hurt.
through your throat.
Hey, it won't
Oh my
hurt when you
gosh.
respawn.
Okay,
It
let's
won't
okay,
be
we're
hurting
moving
when you
this. We're moving
respawn.
He's got too
Think
much
about
pride
it.
for that.
Think
this.
about
We're
it.
moving this.
It won't hurt when you respawn.
We're
No,
You'll be
moving this
healed again.
conversation.
Yeah.
100%.
Eli.
Yep.
He stubs his toe. That pain sucks, bro. Just cut your neck open and restart, man.
I don't know about that. That's
Y'all are
like
edgy. Y'all are
that.
real
That pain
edgy.
goes away in a little bit. I'm thinking about like the emotional pains. That stuff just never leaves you. You gotta carry that around with you.
Bro,
Wow.
I just want to point out that my anime list lists Puck as Pack. But yeah. moving on.
Backpack.
Thanks, Travis.
Yeah,
Thanks.
uh, all right. Enough of Subaru's power.
Wait,
you
actually,
guys
I
want
have
just
one
like
more question real quick. I have one
okay,
more question
go on,
real
go on.
quick, Sorry.
Yeah, fine. No, you're good.
Is it overpowered? Is it underpowered? Or do you think it's balanced?
I think it's balanced.
I was gonna say overpowered
Really.
because for some reason he can basically tell everybody what his power is
Without
except
saying
for
it.
Amelia.
Mhm.
Like of course he can't say it out loud, but it's like he can hint around like the very ending one when Julius killed him and he respawned back at the camp and everyone like just killed the whale. They were all completely like, wow, this guy knows what's up. Let's just completely follow him. Like everybody understands like he somehow has this prior knowledge except for Amelia. Amelia is
Well,
just completely clueless about everything.
He had backing from Wilhelm. Wilhelm was like, "Oh yeah, we received information that was similar to this," and everyone was like, "Oh, we're listening."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was just one
No,
point. Like,
'cause-
that happened so much.
He mentioned like how Amelia saved him and like stuff that had happened in a previous life to Amelia. But I think Amelia is just too dumb to get it.
Dumb.
She also yeah, it's funny how much he like hints at loving her and stuff, but she's always like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
And then he can
The whole-
he can
it's the
say
whole show.
She's
Yeah.
never had a friend.
Oh yeah, I forgot
Maybe
about
that's
that.
why. Maybe that's why.
Maybe she doesn't deserve to have a friend.
Whoa.
All right.
You ever think about that?
Whoa.
Guy.
Whoa.
Right, listen, we're not.
Not yet.
Alright.
Not yet.
Amelia's not best girl.
Hold your horses.
Okay, so moving on to another big point in the show. Probably one of the weirdest episodes I've ever seen in anime. The whole Rim versus Subaru talk. I think it's like episode 16 or
Yeah,
18.
it's somewhere in the teens. Like when they're in the
From
capital
Zero.
before they go to.
It's
From zero.
Subaru has completely lost his mind. Doesn't want to go on. Just wants to run away. And
Understandable.
this beautiful
That-
character
that's the-
Rim comes out of nowhere
He's
and
being
becomes a hero
incredibly
for the hero.
he's being incredibly realistic in that moment, to me at least.
Yeah,
He definitely was.
He's
for
kind of
sure.
ditching the anime protag.
Why would you continue
vibe
to
and
run
just
into
going-
your death over and
Yeah.
over again when you could just
I
be
mean,
like,
I'd do
"Ah,
that.
screw
I'd
this."
have done that.
Just talking about slitting your throat because you got the wrong dialogue option.
Well, listen, I can kill
Gotcha,
myself,
boy.
but I can't watch other people die.
True. I think that's
That's the
also what
hardest
messed him
part.
up. That's what messed him up more than dying.
Yeah, like him dying. It's like what I said earlier. It's you can die, but when you respawn, you don't feel anything. But when you watch other people, like people you care about, die, that's what hurts. Because
Like
then
that
you're
grotesque.
you're looking at him like he said every time he reset, like they said to him, you look like you've seen a ghost, and essentially, he did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In his terms.
In his terms, he's like, I watched you die. I watched you get like, for Rim example, I watched you get twisted backwards and then somehow crawl.
That was
How did she
disgusting.
crawl? How did she crawl?
No demon
Her
healing.
limbs were
Freaking
completely
slugged.
snapped. She
Slug
just
girl.
slugged at him. That's messed up,
Oh
dude.
my gosh. She had demon healing. That's how she survived the mob beast fight. But
Well, yeah, but
yeah,
she
I
wasn't
know.
using her arms
I
or
know.
legs. She was just kind of
Yeah.
inchworming at him.
Stuff is.
So
that's
you
stuff
think
like this.
you think Subaru was being rational, but what about Rim? Was she being rational?
So when she what did she
He
say?
was
She's
just
like,
her hero though.
She was like,
right?
I wish that we could do this. Like I wish we
Can
could
we
run
talk-
away, but we have.
Can we talk about how there's been no bigger cuck in anime history than what Subaru does at that moment though?
like, I love Amelia.
I mean, there's a
After she plans his whole life. I mean,
Yeah.
she won't go through with it,
no.
but she
sure.
wants it. And
She's
so
just
does
like,
he at that moment.
I want this, but no, you can't do this.
To be fair, Witch would have grabbed his heart and yanked it out had he been chill with that.
he would have probably had a stroke or something on the carriage.
Yeah,
ride
he'd have
after
died right
by
there.
now. Like he would have
He
walked
would've
through the gate, and the gate would
Broken
have
his
fell and
carriage
just like
wheel,
impaled him.
snapped his neck.
Any sane person would have been like, "Yeah, Ram, that's chill, sounds good." But that's why he was thrown out there because he's
Especially
a,
like in that moment. In that moment, Rem is one of the best characters in the show because she's had the most like some of the most character development and growth.
Yeah.
And so like personally, that moment you're just like, I care about this. Like I want her to be. I just want them to be happy. Is that too much?
hey,
to
that's
ask
why
for?
he's there and not you. Yeah,
Yeah. Apparently she can't be happy,
there you go.
and that's
She's got
messed
blue
up.
hair.
Yeah, she does have blue hair, but
Blue
Yeah,
hair.
Well,
she
That's
got-
the
her girls
defining
never
feature.
she got straight cucked, bro. Like
It was.
I
And then
felt that. Everyone
yeah,
in a 10-mile radius felt that. Like everybody's
She,
like,
she wasn't even
"Ugh."
sad, and then he was just like, "Tomorrow you're
No.
gonna watch your hero shine," and she just freaking lost it. I was like,
She's
"This
just
is
like,
actually kind of sad."
Yeah.
I literally watched it in the car on the way to my birthday dinner, and I wanted to cry, but my dad was sitting next to me.
You were in the front.
You would have been like, "Why the hell are you crying at cartoons?"
I wish you would have done it now. Oh,
I'm glad I didn't.
dude, this is kind of a
Yeah.
digression, but I cried in the car one time with my family. I was watching Violet Evergarden.
Okay. Over what?
I was watching Violet Evergarden in the car with my
Oh.
family, and I just started bawling. In the
I
back
thought
seat.
you
Is this even anime related or what?
I can picture like, I just remember the time I stubbed my toe. It hurt.
Oh my gosh.
That did happen one time, though. I mean,
For the
me
record.
stubbing my toe and crying. Those both happened. Oh. So, who's you guys' best girl? That's it.
Is that,
That's it. What'd you say?
that's a bold question. We're just
Yeah,
going
well,
right to it.
Yeah, we're going
I can-
straight to it.
Everybody-
We're jumping
Let's
into
start
it.
with. I want to hear Nick's first.
Yeah, let's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nick, you're important.
I don't know. I was stuck on a couple for a while.
Old man
Always
Rom is
came-
not a girl.
Neither is the cat lolly. You're not literally lolly.
Listen,
Well,
Neither's
one of the
Puck.
cat lollies is. This is
there are like 3 or 4 best boys before there's a single best girl. But
Oh, what?
That's why you're in
Yeah.
the skirt, brother.
Let me fr-
I
yeah, let me flash this on screen for all those watching on YouTube.
I don't know. I
This is
gotta come
Nick
back
over here
to.
on the left.
Hey, I'm pretty fabulous. Not gonna lie. I don't know. Always came back. I have a gripe with like so many characters. I found something to complain about with just about everything in this show. But
I could agree
I thought Gut Slicer Girl was pretty lit. She was spooky.
Dude,
She
yes,
never
let's
came
go.
back. Wait,
Yes.
can we
Wait,
talk about this?
she didn't come.
Can we
She
talk
didn't
about
come back.
this?
She will
You
come
lied.
back.
You lied to me.
She mentioned
no
that she was
chance.
working with somebody else
What?
for the royal selection, but they never like they just kind of threw it away. That's another issue I have. A lot of these throwaway lines and like throwaway like elements for the
Yeah,
writing.
uh,
Maybe it'll
they're
pay
not
off in
throwaway.
season 2. We don't know.
Right.
But as
Right.
looking purely at season 1, stuff like that is my main issue with the show.
I don't know. Gut Slicer Girl got me like actually invested. I was not. I had no faith in myself to finish this anime in a week and a
Honestly,
half. But
But in episode
once
4,
once
man.
once I saw that, once I saw what was going on there, I was like, all right, we're strapping in for a
So-
little bit.
What was your favorite part about her? Was it her lack thereof of clothing?
Her personality was very pointed. I don't know. We don't know too much about her.
It was
Pointed. Hey,
harsh.
that was a pun, wasn't it? Wow.
Can we
I
get
just-
a ReZero OVA about the Bow Hunter?
Dude, if I'm gonna say what's best
Dude.
about her is the voice actor is amazing.
Yeah,
Also, that's a
freaking
great name, the Bow
love
Hunter.
the Bow Hunter.
That-
That,
That
yeah.
voice actor.
Dude,
I
you
didn't
mess
like
with
how
that.
like focused she was and like spilling everybody's guts and like
I'd let her spill my
masturbating
guts.
about that.
To be fair,
She like looked at him and started
okay.
licking her lips and like rubbing her thighs
Dude,
together. I was
she
kinda
made
like,
she made such a clean cut on Subaru that it
Alright.
literally didn't open for like 2 minutes, and then all of a sudden just like and just splattered everywhere.
he arched his back and then his guts were just like sayonara.
Also,
Not gonna finish
like,
that.
I don't know.
Bad word.
That type of stuff. that type of stuff in anime usually puts me off super hard, like when everybody's being over sexual and it's just over the top or whatever.
Yeah.
Nothing she did was like, I'm doing this because my tits are out and like I'm licking my lips to seduce you or whatever.
Yeah, she
Doing
just
this
purely
It's like,
wanted.
this
She just
this is
straight up
part of my-
wanted to
this
see
is
that
part of-
intestinal tract. She
But
wanted
I
to
did-
see that GI tract.
all she wanted
Wait.
to see was your guts on the ground, and I
Wait,
respect
if-
that.
guys,
If she
guys,
shows
guys,
me her guts, I show her my tits.
guys,
I said it backwards.
I guys, not to interrupt or anything, but what if the Val Hunter is your pharmacy professor that has an obsession with the GI tract?
It's pretty hot.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say her name. It'd be a little bit
Are you guys
weird.
talking about your professor? All right.
Yeah,
Hey
yeah,
Eli,
yeah,
what
yeah,
was
yeah,
your
yeah.
best girl?
Yeah,
Eli,
yeah,
Best
let's
girl?
move
I'm
on
asking
to
you.
Yeah.
No, we gotta move on to Ethan. Ethan's next in line.
wait, why? Oh,
On NEET.
Oh, okay, yeah, we'll move it like that. Okay,
Yeah, if we get through
go
the
Ethan.
NEET.
God, God damn it. Okay.
It goes Nick, Ethan, Eli, Travis. But my best girl?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Come on, man.
Don't
I'd
act like you
say-
think about it. You know.
By the
You
end of the
already know.
show, at the end of the show, it became Crush.
Really?
You didn't expect that, did you?
My
That's what I was
heart
gonna
Did it.
say.
I like
She's
her.
100% best girl.
Yeah.
Oh,
Rem,
ow.
Rem is everyone's
did
first
love
choice
her.
for best girl, so I don't want Rem to be my best girl. Rem is a good girl.
So
Emilia
you-
is a
so
dumb
you're
girl.
just an anti-bandwagon. That's it.
No, I like
Yeah.
Crush.
Yeah, you're just being a hipster.
I liked Crush. Like, she was a good
Before
character.
she was cool.
It's pronounced crochet in the English for
Crush-sama.
That's gross.
I'm gonna say
It's
Yeah,
also
Crush-sama.
pronounced
Crush.
Subaru in English.
Yeah.
crochet.
The last I checked, he's just a car.
I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Subaru, so they don't get copyrighted by
'Cause that's
Subaru.
Subaru.
It's
That's
what makes a
a
Subaru.
Subaru.
What does her
Dying.
voice sound like in Japanese?
Yee.
Because in English it
Pretty
hurts.
good.
It
Crush.
Firm. It's firm.
She's pretty firm,
good.
but not like masculine firm.
I don't know if her
Like,
lines
I'd let
were
her step on me.
recorded off location, but everything around her gets a little quieter when she talks, and it really threw me off. I
know,
didn't like the character because of that.
I have a friend who complained about English dubs of animes because he always said they sounded like they were recorded in a closet.
I
Japanese
noticed that was that
voices
only
didn't
that
sound like that.
character though, and it totally ruined it. But that's my
That-
only gripe.
Recorded,
that is like
from
a common
separate
thing now.
location.
Which is
Like,
weird. You think
people
you
don't
think
like
we would
that.
have like really nice studios
Yeah,
to
like
produce
straight up
every-
like
every-
the same kind of like recording studios that they do like Pixar movies.
for Pixar
anime
movies.
movies, yeah.
Ooh,
You think they use the
I
same
don't know.
stuff, right?
Alright.
Right?
probably do.
I want to
We're
get my
English.
best girl out there. I want
Alright.
to get it.
Do
Hit me
it.
with it.
Nobody
Alright,
asked Eli.
Yeah, you gotta wait for one of us to ask.
So the one that I'm gonna say, you're probably not gonna count as valid, so I have a backup. But
What?
I've been saying this a lot. My favorite female character is Teresia, Wilhelm's wife, the
Mm.
original Master Swordsman.
Okay.
That sounded like
I
a league
love her
champion
character.
spotlight. Teresia, the original
Original
Master
Swordsman.
Swordsman.
Stop it.
Alright, calm down,
listen,
freak.
Listen, she legitly she has such a from the small bits that we get, she's just you can see her character, her personality is so not in where her destiny is. But whenever she's needed, she goes and she carries out her duty with you can see some small personal stripe that she doesn't want to carry the sword. And this
Right.
whole arc of Wilhelm chasing after her just so he can prove a point that one, she shouldn't be holding a sword, and two, he wanted to be the one to hold it for her. So I mean and she gave that up. She's like, oh yeah, you beat me in this, and they became wed. I wanted to see more of that. I was really sad when I didn't get to see it, because out of their few experiences, and then he kept on recalling, he's like, oh, that was my wife. It's such a strange jump. It's you wouldn't expect that relationship advancement. But honestly, I loved Teresia.
Dude, she just want to look at flowers.
She's
too much to ask for?
She said you like flowers, and
I don't
Wilhelm
hate
likes
flowers
that would-
anymore.
She would be a cool character. Like her and Wilhelm would be a cool character to give an OVA to. I would.
For sure.
I would like that.
No.
Wilhelm was a
Like,
cool
wait-
character. Wilhelm was a cool character. Why don't you think so, Nick?
Nick just drops
That-
no.
Whoa, okay, is it appropriate to ask you who's Nick's favorite character, just overall?
I'd say I can't
I'm
remember.
curious.
Is it better not
Um,
be Old Man Rom?
No, it's
No, that's cheating.
Subaru's good. Subaru's my favorite.
Really?
Really?
I respect
Main
that.
Yeah, now-
character favorite?
Only because he kind of diverted my expectations as far as what I thought the anime protagonist was going to be.
You thought he was gonna be like
But-
He's
some.
gonna be like, I'm the protagonist, so I save everyone.
He had a
I-
couple moments where I was like,
dude,
wow, I don't know
I-
any other anime pro tag that I've heard about do this.
Like where he's an actual human, right?
Yeah.
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 I
Yep.
feel like I say I like the protagonist to the anime, like with almost every anime I watch, but Subaru's definitely a good protagonist.
Yeah, I'll give the show
He's
this.
for sure
Like, I
good.
don't like the writing in the show, and I've mentioned that multiple times already. I don't like the writing, like story wise, but the character writing is just superb. The way the characters are written, the way that they're acted, the way they're fleshed out is just phenomenal.
So you don't
The-
like the
the-
writing, but you like the way the characters are written.
The few characters, because
Yep.
there's such few like
That makes sense.
no, like the character dialogue,
1 second.
Makes you like the characters.
story writing.
I feel you. Yeah.
yeah. The story, yeah.
Not
My
Shout out to a
dude.
couple that need more.
dialogue.
Shout out to a couple that need more IMO. You've already kind of touched on one. Rom, total beast. That design of a character is
Old
hilarious,
man
and I love it.
Rom is great.
He
I
fake
like the
bro.
fact that he. Do you have the picture of the the hole that he supposedly squeezed
The
into?
hole. There's a tiny little hole he came out
Yeah,
of doing Faith
they
Castle
show, like,
solo. I don't
one
know why
frame
he
of it.
thought that would work. What was he doing?
He was trying to save what's her name?
Felt.
Dude, he just loved Felt.
Felt.
Great idea. Just
Dude,
dig right
I
up into the
love
middle of
Felt.
the court. Shut up.
Felt,
Why didn't he bring his
Felt
giant
is best girl. Felt's the best girl.
Oh,
Yes!
wow. Is that him?
I
Did you
just
really
go,
just
dude.
I like flat chested women.
Wait, what?
What?
Justice for small titties.
That was a little.
Justice for small.
Is that
titties.
is that your best girl? Like no cap?
Yeah, no cap.
Ram.
I am
Ram?
I can't say
okay.
no cap for him.
I'm just.
I'm gonna move you out of the Discord call. I'm going to kick you out. Ram
I'm
has
still-
no character. She just talks. She's just like, I hate you, Buttersu.
No, her character is
Oh,
lit.
really?
She got wait.
She got
what
her
are we talking
horn
about?
nay-nayed. Ram.
Ram.
Oh,
The
I thought we were
pink
still
one.
talking about Felt. I was like, she has character. What do you mean?
No, Felt just kind of got thrown away like
Shut
halfway
up.
through the show. Like after the
Felt-
royal selection, she's like, Felt's here,
Well,
and then
Felt-
she's gone.
Decided to turn the whole place into an anarchy, and everybody was like, all right. lit.
Yeah, they were okay with it.
I like how Reinhardt, the
She's
most
like, oh wow, she's crazy, but I guess we
And
got to leave.
Reinhardt's best boy, and Reinhardt and Felt, best
Also
girl and best boy, get thrown to the wolves, dude. You
They
never see
do.
him again.
That's
They'll get some
another
season
thing.
2, no joke.
go.
There's no way. That's
should.
the only.
there's no way they
See,
don't.
Well,
It's the
okay, do
only
you think-
duo that isn't revisited, like when Subaru's trying to like build an army against the whale.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean-
I was like, oh, he's gonna run into Reinhardt and Feld eventually, surely, because he's gone through everybody else.
What
but
if you
they-
just
no,
grabbed
nothing.
Old Man Rom and Old Man Rom just ran around like a orc in Lord of the Rings? just
Has
murdering
everyone
people?
seen? So everyone's seen the new trailer for season 2, right?
Yeah.
So do you think season 2 is going to be just about Subaru and the witch and like all those the other things,
No.
or do you think it's actually going to sum up the like royal judgment or whatever it was called?
I see personally
ordeal.
what I want to see. I want to see a mix of the two. Like you can leave it open for season 3. Don't wait like 3 to 4 years again in between seasons because nobody liked that. Let's be honest. But like I want to see a mix of the both. Like obviously you can't wrap up this storyline in one season, right? Because there's just so much unanswered stuff.
I felt myself being more invested in like the whole political. Like I just want to know about that whole running thing.
Right.
It,
Like,
it
I
got rid
think-
of it halfway through. It gets rid of the I can't even think of her name, but the girl who made him lick her feet.
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't like that
Like
episode.
it got rid of her. It got rid of the guy who was super cool. Like
Ow.
the knight who.
Ow.
That was my third favorite character for sure.
Dude, Al was great.
Al had
Like,
a
they're
messed
all-
up
they're all
face
great.
supposedly. She mentions
Supposedly.
it, she's just like, you have an ugly face, and I'm just like,
I bet he
Al.
doesn't even have a face.
Al doesn't deserve this.
I picture him to be Shovel Knight.
Probably with a big nose or something.
Al is actually just Shovel Knight that got reincarnated into this world.
But yeah,
we
I
don't
felt.
know the world's name.
I think that was my favorite thing.
we know the name of the country, but we don't know the name of the world. Is the world just ReZero?
What if there's
It's Subaru, dude.
the country is Luginica or something?
It's what makes a
Luginica.
Subaru a
Lugic,
Subaru.
yeah.
This
or something.
episode is not
Do you
sponsored by
think there's
Subaru.
Do you think there's anyone else that's been
Not yet.
transported to that
Subaru
world?
call us.
Hit me up. I work in
Huh?
cars. Huh?
Do you think there's anyone else that's been transported to that world?
That's
Whoa.
I kept expecting them to see that because in other
What
shows,
if
they'll
like
sometimes
Reinhardt
have-
is or Julius was?
No, I don't think Reinhardt
Alice?
was because Reinhardt.
Whoa!
That's what I was saying before. I don't think Reinhardt was because. Ooh, I just thought of this. Is Reinhardt, Wilhelm, and Teresa's kid?
Gotta be. They share.
They share the same hair color, eye color,
What is it
and the
called?
Von Astria.
Von Astria.
So
I mean,
Bro.
it
Wait,
gotta
are
be.
they?
I
Is
was
it?
thinking about
Gotta
that the whole time. Like
Me
they were
too.
fleshing the story out. I was like, is he? But they never mention it. But I'm pretty sure because it's always that family name that is the Master Swordsman, right?
Yep.
So I'm pretty sure
Whether
that
married into it or born into
he
it.
is their kid.
That sounds completely logical to me. And I feel
100%
like
awesome.
Subaru, whenever he figures that out, is gonna go, "What?
Yeah, and then you'd be like, Subaru, you freaking idiot.
You dense boy."
You're dumb. And he's gonna reincarnate and be like, ha, I already knew that. Or returned by death or whatever. I guess he's not reincarnated.
Don't say it, dude. Your heart will explode.
Turn by-
I feel like it was cardiac, and why did he arrest my dad?
Okay.
I saw that before we
Oh,
started this.
Great dumb joke
Cool.
there.
So Nick a little bit ago mentioned he had just rants everywhere about the show.
Yeah.
I think we've all kind of ranted on the show, but overall we didn't hate it. I don't think anyone hated it.
I hated
Right?
I hated the ending.
Okay, you hated the ending.
I hated the
You're like
ending.
Amelia.
Would you
No.
recommend it to someone?
So, I actually did recommend it to my roommate to watch. Which, funnily enough, he started after I did and finished it before I did. He finished it in one night.
What
So
a- what a
yes,
king.
in that case, I would recommend it to somebody because I already have. Overall, it's a
Nick?
really good experience.
What about Nick?
That's my thoughts.
Did you like it? First anime experience? How do you feel? Since you had so many rants.
What are Nick's feelings?
Yeah, give us
Is,
Nick's feelings.
Is Nick here?
Oh, my mic is muted. Oh, damn.
Looks like he's
I
not
don't know.
saying anything.
I got pretty bored. I'm gonna be frank with you. The anime could have ended. It had two chances to end at places I like more than the actual ending.
Yeah.
Oh, like when Puck went monster.
Yeah.
The credits rolled.
That would have been
That was the-
sicko. That would have
Literally-
been sicko
no.
mode. Like
That
Super
was.
2018 mode. Or
But
2019
before he
mode.
woke up and realized he was like still cursed by the dogs or whatever, that whole episode was a throwaway episode. He could have just been
Kinda.
like, "Oh, you saved the town," and that could have been it.
See, the reason that was there though was for Rem's character. That was
Yeah,
for
but-
the building of their relationship before her eventual confession, and then
So Subaru
the
could have a
ultimate
number two.
perfection.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
just
he
like,
lit-
"Here,
yeah,
you
he
said
legit
need
told
a-
her
Oh
to
my
number two.
gosh, dude.
But he
Subaru
won't
needs
give up
another
on her.
girl. There's not enough anime girl in this anime. We need
It
more
needs
anime
to be a
girl.
harem.
Yeah, I don't. That was a little
I
weird.
don't want that. I don't want that at all.
I've
want-
organized my biggest rants into a little I don't know, a little game, a little section here. If you
Okay.
guys wanna
Alright.
accompany with this,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Called
let's
it-
go.
I've called it Need or Not. Get it? Uh-huh.
Okay.
It's some things that I really tried to like during the anime, and I can't convince myself to enjoy them. So I want you to tell me why they're good. I want you to
okay.
tell me why they're good.
'Kay.
First off, biggest one. Already talked about it. Wilhelm. I don't care about him. He's a cart guy that the
Oh,
anime's
okay.
just like, you're gonna care about this man now. Yeah, go for it, Eli. Please help me.
All right. So Wilhelm. Okay. So listen. He's legitly this butler guy that showed up. Subaru saw him as a man of small status importance, and he
Yeah.
took to him, like trying to like impress him and stuff like that. Just interested in what Amelia was doing. So his whole story, of course, he became the master swordsman through marrying Teresia and beating her. So to this point,
New league champion.
as a mission to wait, what'd you say?
New league,
New league champion.
new league champion. Teresia,
Teresia.
the master swordsman.
The original master swordsman.
I'm sorry, Karen,
Anyways,
yeah.
so Wilhelm, wanting to avenge his wife, parties with Krush's party
Yeah, yeah.
in order in the hopes that because they were already making a movement to take down
Yeah.
White Wheel. That's why she was buying all that stuff, and it was a lot of foreshadowing that I actually really enjoyed. But Wilhelm, his whole arc, he actually feels like he has plot behind what's moving already. And I liked how ingrained he is, and then the fact that they give him more backstory where he's more than just a 2D character of he's the buff old man that is more than what he seems.
He's the
And that's-
buff, angry old man
Well,
with a dead
let me-
wife, and that is
Let
it.
me take Nick's
Sounds
let me
like
take
Alfred,
Nick's side
but, like,
kind of.
More badass.
Okay.
Kind of on Nick's side. Yes, he joined the show late, and he was definitely a character that they're like, which character do we want? Yes, this guy. He gets a backstory for sure. It was just
Okay.
completely random that it was put on him,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but it
Pretty
definitely
random.
made sense. Like it fits, but it was a. They could have gave it to like Krush, or why couldn't they give it to anyone else?
As somebody
In-
who didn't like the idea of the
yeah.
white whale fight in the first place, there's no way to really convince me on that character because that's the only reason he exists.
So yeah, that's what I was gonna
Kind-
say from
yeah.
there. Like legit, the entire reason because initially he was just like the butler.
Yep.
Well, I think he had. I
but
think he had
he
a lot of faith
became-
in Subaru, which was really
Yeah.
needed for Subaru in the end.
But like
Mhm.
he became that important character because of the white whale fight, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
without the white whale fight, he just would have been another character, right? Like, sure, some people might have liked him and cared about him, but he wouldn't have had that character development.
Yeah.
Like,
I
it's
mean, the whole
Alright.
show boiled.
it's
The
weird
whole
that
show boiled down to Subaru getting people to like him, and that was someone that was just extremely easy for Subaru to get to like him.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's weird to me that because there's so few characters that actually got like full-fledged character development, like backstories into learning and growth. It's weird to me that they would spend time on one of those few moments for Wilhelm. Right?
It fit. It made sense.
I buy Wilhelm as just somebody that's there to be a friend
Yeah.
to Subaru.
But
I buy
instead,
that
For some reason, they gave Wilhelm more backstory than Amelia. That's
because
that's
he's
my
just
issue with
somebody that
Amelia.
he's somebody that likes Subaru. Amelia doesn't know if she,
Yeah. Amelia's
I
just like,
get it. All right, I'm gonna make the call. That's actually neat. I'm all right with that. I got a couple more. We good to keep going?
Yeah, we're almost to an hour, so
All right.
yeah, we can go a little longer.
Yeah, we're at 56 minutes right now. So
All right. Here's another big gripe of mine. This kind of just goes in with the world in general, but save points. These fuckers are arbitrary as hell and make no sense.
A little bit.
No,
Why?
I think we talked about that earlier because they do seem arbitrary, but I'm pretty sure there's something to do with It helps the
his
witch.
guided path.
It's
right?
gonna get into it.
yeah
Okay.
his
We
guided path. Yeah.
I
we
think
talked
that's
about it.
like our
I'm
general
on board.
like consensus on that.
Gotcha. Here's another one. The world in general. We're allowing a lot of things to go. We got regular people, we got animal people,
Humans.
we got spirits, we got magic, we got a kingdom, we got giant flying whales. There are no rules here. Why am I invested in this world? It doesn't seem very unique. It's just like every anime trope, every magical whatever is going on here. What makes it cool to me?
It looks like a massive hodgepodge of just all the Final Fantasy games put
It
together.
it's just a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
It seems like it's a very cliche world for
And
sure.
it tries to rope you into the world, like get you involved in it with the village and the political drama.
That's why I
That's
think
the-
once
the
I think
main
once we get
investment.
more into the politic part, like hopefully during season 2, I'm pretty sure that that'll really help draw into the whole world issue that you have.
Yeah.
I
'Cause-
agree with Nick on that point. The world's
Yeah.
just
Because
kinda,
right
it's-
now
it's very lackluster. Like,
But
it's
it
just
feels
classic.
so alive at the same time. Like the towns
they
did
use CG
feel very
characters.
alive.
The village, I
Yeah,
think, is the best place. The best.
The
setting
village felt-
because
a lot
the
of memorable
villagers and
faces
Subaru's
from the village
relationship.
that I noticed.
Yeah. Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
That whole relationship.
All the
is just-
kids, the
The old lady and the old man,
Indian.
Yeah.
the
the
big
red-haired guy.
with
red-haired
the
guy
sword.
with the sword.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know if I
Side
remember the
characters like
guy
that, they
who-
definitely made an impact.
Mhm.
So
I don't know. My brain's gonna hurt. It needs to slow down before I call that knee. So I'm gonna call it. But that's all I got. Thank you for that, guys. I feel better.
Yeah, we
Got that
you,
off
dude.
my chest.
If you ever need to rant, just hit us up.
Yeah. Oh
We're
no,
here
for
you.
sure. I
Yeah.
will
Hit us
do.
up
No,
within
yeah,
2
yeah.
weeks. In 2
Yeah,
weeks.
With,
That's my
With- with-
deadline.
in 2 weeks
Aye, aye.
for the next episode.
Oh yes.
Cool.
yes.
Shameless plug.
all right.
Wait,
So
we're plugging ours-
probably should wrap it up now.
Yep.
yeah.
We're gonna
we've
start
got
with
everything we
what we're
have.
going to call the final word.
Ooh.
Somebody explain the
So-
rules.
so-
Yeah,
someone wanna
somebody
explain, or
this? I'm
or me
not really
too?
too sure
I
on
did the
it.
last thing. Somebody else did.
Okay, so the final word, here on my screen, I have all 4 of us. Ethan's 1, I'm 2, Eli's 3, Nick's 4. We're gonna randomly generate someone to answer a question. We have a list of 10 questions. We're gonna pick 3 random questions from this list of 10 questions, and they have to fire off within 10 seconds the answer to the questions that they're given.
Oh my god.
And
didn't
know
they're
that.
the final word. We can't
Or
argue
else.
it. It's the
They're off
it's
the
over.
podcast.
The undisputable truth is whatever comes out of this person's mouth.
Yeah,
Yup.
exactly.
The
This,
Ah,
Freudian slip.
this is
So
what it,
so the 10
you're
the
literally
10
left with.
questions that we have this week, I'll just say them. Best overall character, best scene, most memorable line, worst girl, best voice actor, best episode, character that got too much screen time, character that got too little screen time, best motivational speech, and saddest moment. Are y'all ready?
Oh,
Drum
yo,
roll,
I'm ready.
please. I can't drum roll.
It looks like it's going to be Eli.
Oh crap. Okay.
hell yeah.
Preparing myself.
Alright.
What you say here can determine your future.
Mhm.
So 10, 9, and 7. So saddest moment, best motivational speaker, and character that got too much screen time. Go.
Saddest moment. I really I felt that scream whenever Ram was scream. Okay, so was this 10 seconds for each one or all of them?
10 seconds total. Go, 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 go.
What the frick? When Ram died and Ram was crying, I
Take your
felt
time's
that. Best motivational speaker. I liked Krush. Whenever she was at the army. Character that got too much screen time. Honestly, Old Man Ram. Just gotta say it. All right, thanks.
Too much? Okay.
Alright.
Okay, okay.
Well,
I got. That was 17 seconds.
Yeah, you
That was 17 seconds. So that last part definitely
you're off
doesn't
the
count.
island.
Yeah.
Get out of here, bro.
Yeah, that last part doesn't count.
Alright, let's. There we go.
That point of him sneaking in, which they said would be the
Hey, no, no,
deadliest
no, you're
thing.
done, you're done, you're done. You don't.
You're done. No more.
Finish
Yeah.
up, you're done.
None of
you're
this
done.
matter. Your 10 seconds.
Podcast over. Podcast over.
Okay,
Go, go,
anyway,
go.
we've been the NEET Podcast. If you like what you heard, drop us a like and a subscribe, I guess.
We're gonna be on YouTube and iTunes, hopefully pending. We'll let you all know.
Eventually Spotify, if we can figure
True.
that out.
This
as
is the
for
first
right now,
podcast. It was
YouTube will
kind of
be on
rough,
there.
but
Join
this
the
is
Discord
our first
server.
one. Yeah, join the Discord server. We'll start
link
getting
it
that
in our
rolling.
link
Yeah,
it in our
we'll add the
description thing.
Anyway,
And
I've
we will be back
been-
in 2 weeks with a
Yeah.
new topic.
I've been Ethan, and I've got.
Who are you now?
We're trying to figure that one out. That was
Yeah.
Eli who decided to rattle off on me. He will be on next week because he couldn't answer the question in 10 seconds.
He said old man Rob sucked. What?
Yep.
Nick says bye. I'm muting now.
Alright.
Alright.
There
And
you
I'm
go.
Travis. My way
Alright.
trash. Remember me. See you guys.
Ciao.